What time is it? It's nation time.
I'm good, and we're here again to discuss Marcus Garvey. And this week, our focus is Marcus Garvey and a vision of a new world, which I think the sermon was replete full of a lot of very good points. Uh, you mentioned that Black people continue to operate as if everything is normal and that we don't want to face the fact that things seem to be getting increasingly worse for us. Why is it so hard for us to face that reality?
Well, one it's the it's hard to face that you've put all of your hope and trust in assimilating into this society in some meaningful way for all of this time, more than 100 years, and it seems like this grand experiment may not work out the way that we had hoped. That is a bitter pill to accept, to deal with. It's um, it's obvious that the at least the extremists in terms of white supremacy and white nationalism have their mind made up about what they intend to do with the country, and they are committed to making sure that the country goes forward the way that it has been since the beginning, with under white control and domination, with certain privileges and opportunities available to white people, and other people are just passengers in the car. They're not members in the club. They're not, they may be allowed to operate or exist within the system, but they aren't citizens in the fullest sense. And that is their commitment. That is what they want. That seems to be what they're trying to create. And we have to grapple with what are the alternatives for us. And that it takes us a while to wrap our minds around it. They're like we have no essentially we have no organization. Um our ability to respond. We don't even have leaders that can lead in the self-determination direction. Um so it's going to be a process of coming to admit that first coming to admit first that door is closed. And like we can continue to try to get what we can, but we had better very quickly being adjust and be on the self-determination path and be about the business of organizing and building for ourselves what we can in order to control, to meet our interests and serve our needs. But it's a process. It's not going to happen overnight.
And what you just said made me think about points you made in previous sermon. I can't remember which one about I think it was Black elected officials and how our leaders, we put more stock in Black elected officials, which would presume, I guess, the idea that somehow them being elected officials would uh, be able to advance our cause or make life better for us. But that has failed us. So it seems, and particularly now. So how do we move? I mean, how do we move our people or get our people to see that just is not going to work for us?
Well, that's a real question. I mean, psychologically, we're kind of tied to the notion that assimilation is the way that any good moral Christian person ought to operate in the modern world. But assimilation is not a process we control. It is, it takes a willing partner to enter into relationship, that kind of relationship. And because white people have their own issues like declining population, the declining birth rate, declining demographics, the people that are being born and are advancing in society, be that the people that section of the population that's growing is a section of the population that's non-white. So that's a biological tsunami that's happening. They can't stop that. They try to stop it with deportation. And if history is any indication, the next step will be some kind of uh, uh, genocidal action to reduce the population so that their numbers uh, their numbers can carry the day in terms of being able to control the society. But it's that's already lost. That all these efforts are futile. People of color, first of all, the white population is only 1/10 of the world, and 9/10 of the world are people of color. The only place in the world where population is actually growing, as a matter of fact, exploding, is in Africa. There are more black people in Africa than there are people in China or India or any other places where we think have great population. And the population in Africa is a young population. And so the demographic issues of people coming from other places and continuing this demographic tsunami of people of color neutralizing or minimizing the effect of white people. If you're going to hang your hat on color politics, it doesn't make sense to hang it on white color politics because biology is wiping that out.
I want to back up to something you said about maybe the assumption that anybody that's a good Christian would operate a certain way, and I'm paraphrasing what I think you said. And why do we? Some people would say that Black people in this country, or Black people period in the diaspora, maybe on the continent too, have out-Christianed the Christians, or those that gave us this interpretation of Christianity. But if they have shown us continuously, they have operated the same way continuously, why do we continue to think, hope, or expect them to do something different?
Because of our conditioning, because of our questions about our own inferiority, about our fear that we need them in order to have a decent existence. And I mean, this was Garvey's whole thing, is that integrationists thought that Garvey was leading Black people to hell because they didn't believe in anything all Black. And that's because they weren't all Black. They thought that some agreement or fellowship between some assimilation between the races was the way to make things work in America. And that would stand to reason when 90% of the population at that time was white. That would be at least a strategy you would consider. But that's not the case anymore. White people are already a minority in America. That minority position is going to continue to shrink as time goes by. And so if you're going to build a society predicated on white domination and control, you got to be committed to some pretty terrible things in order to maintain your power. And like, that's why white supremacists and white nationalists and Christian evangelicals are now trying to rehabilitate Hitler and saying that he's widely misunderstood and we were really on the wrong side in World War II. that they're trying to rehabilitate Hitler because it's obvious that to maintain what they want, they would have to go down Hitler's path. But it is not so easy because the Jewish population of Germany was 1%. The minority population or the people of color population of the United States is 60%. So we're in for some very interesting times.
I would say, to say the least. I like the analogy that you made with John and the book of Revelations, and how uh, perhaps dire circumstances seemed for the nation of Israel during that time. And you kind of juxtapose it or compare it to how things were leading up to Marcus Garvey and the vision that he was able to give to our people and project for our people. How would you compare where we are today to those two periods, or more particularly the Garvey, the period that led us or brought us Garvey?
I think that I think they're all comparable. That the bad part in John's time in Israel, in Garvey's time, and in our time, they're all comparable. I think the difference is that John had a vision, Garvey had a vision. We don't have a vision. We don't have any agreed upon vision of a preferred future that we're working toward. In the civil rights struggle, Martin Luther King said, I have a dream. So we had a vision of a society in which people were equal, received equal treatment under the law, held hands, and lived in fellowship and harmony with each other. At least we had a vision that that's what we were working toward. When we think of what we're working toward today, Black people in general have no vision other than personal success within the framework of the enemy system. Me being able to attain personal success in the world as it is and to be able to live out my days that way. But the direction that society has taken is rapidly making that impossible, working on making that impossible for all of us. And we don't have an alternative vision. Now, we propose that the alternative vision ought to be a vision of self-determination and Black people building what we need to take care of ourselves. But that is not a vision. We're like crying loud in the wilderness. It is not a vision widely shared, nor widely being worked upon. And so we're in the prophetic position of hollering in the wind, and we're trying to tell people what we need to do, but it's not an easy task to um, talk to people who are what it the Bible says that they're stiff-necked people. Their heads are they're hard-headed. Their heads are like rock. In terms, they got their mind made up in terms of what they think they want, what they believe they can have and do. And what we're talking about is something drastically different that requires such a total transformation of our thinking and being that we want to take the easy route and just get in where we fit in the white society.
You know, you mentioned this, how, and I'm paraphrasing, how we seem to opt or feel like there's some individual solution if we just work hard and pull ourselves up, and I can get my piece of the American dream. You bring this out in this actual sermon, I think, in different words, and you just mentioned it. But doesn't that really fuel the oppression?
Oh, absolutely. Groups, individuals don't beat groups. Individuals don't beat institutions. When a group of people come together and tribe up and decide, if you look at the way the MAGA movement operates, it operates where it does not allow dissenting voices. It's a conspiracy. It's a tribal conspiracy. And everybody, whether you agree or not, you got to go along with the tribe or the tribe turns on you. And so they get people to fall in line. People that know that what they're saying, what the words coming out of their mouth are absolute foolishness. Policies and positions they're forced to take, they know it's ridiculous. Things they are forced to defend that they know are indefensible, but they got to toe the party line. They have to observe and respect the tribal conspiracy that this is what we've decided we believe or what we're going to do or what the program is, and anybody that steps out of line, we're going to crush them. So you get like senators, judges, people who you would think are accomplished and fully made in their own right that capitulate because Trump is a tribal leader and dictates the direction of the tribe, and everybody falls in line. You can't tell me all those Republican representatives and senators and stuff are stupid enough to believe a lot of the stuff that's going on. But they're forced to defend it because you either own the team or you off. And being off the team doesn't just mean you're off the team. It means you're ostracized from any meaningful role in society. And your family is ostracized from any meaningful role in society. You contrast that with us. We are individually trying to fit into that. So each individual Black person is fighting a tribal conspiracy where they're committed to not let you in. And you, as an individual, you're trying to get in. So the logical response would be to create your own organization, your own tribal entity, and try to work to meet your own needs and serve your own interests. But we don't want to tribe up with Black people because that is that's not going to work. That is not I don't believe that'll work because I don't believe Black people can function that way because we've been conditioned with beliefs that have conditioned us to believe we can't function that way.
I was going to go back to your early reference to our conditioning. So we're conditioned not to operate in that way. But the example you gave for how MAGA operates also make me think about this system of operation or collectivism, if we can call it that they have, is like a perverted interpretation of the group process.
It is. I mean, but it is a group process, though. It's not our group process, but it's a group process where the group forces conformity. It forces you to conform. Now, when congressmen's wives talk about sleeping with pistols up under their pillow at night because they're afraid, it's because pressure is being brought to bear on them to support a particular agenda. Black people go down and say anything they want to, make any decision they want to, because there is no counter pressure being put on them to support the interests of Black people.
No group pressure saying, no, you cannot do it like that.
Yeah, you can sell us out and we'll still be trying to talk to you.
What time is it? It's nation time.